Welcome to Richard Scale Modelling. This is part 9 of the Airifix Avro Vulcan B.2 Scale 172 build. In part 8, I've done a little bit more work on the infrastructure and finishing off with painting the wing. So in part 9, I'm going to be finishing off painting the wing and making a star on the tail. So let's jump into this and have a look. Picking up where I left off, I'm painting in Humbrol 130 white satin, and this is the final coat going on now. As you can see, the shading is almost done through the pencil marks. If you remember from part 8, I was explaining what I was doing there. So carrying on with the small circular motions on the brush strokes. As I said, it's the final coat. And now placing on the other side of the exhaust ports. So that's just getting pushed onto the wing. Remember the unit is open, the cover is actually formed from the wing, but you shouldn't have any problem just place them on, it just pushes in. I'm using Humbrol 87 steel grey here, and I'm painting the underside of the air intake for the engines. I was debating whether just to leave this white or not, but I decided it would have more effect if I painted it with the same colour as the fuselage inside, so like the tail section and the cockpit. And then it's back to the 130 white satin, and I'm painting the hinges and then going on to the flaps. And for the white, it's the underside of the flaps and hinges that I'm painting. So if you're doing this, make sure you don't get confused with what side you're painting. Moving on to Humbrol 53 Gunmetal, and this is for the cover that goes on the underside of the engines. I'm not exactly sure what this does, what the proper name of the part is, but it sits in between the engines on the underside. It's a simple process to construct. The upright bar just goes in between the recess point of this ski-shaped looking component. Before you have to place them in, there's 2 rods that have to go in, and these fit on either side of the engine portway. Make sure that the tipple is actually lying on the exhaust. Now you can pre-drill the holes before you assemble the wing on this, but I didn't because I wasn't exactly sure where they go, and the holes markings on the plastic wasn't exactly visible, if any at all. So I thought I would just wait until I painted it. Next to go on is a couple of little airfoils. There's 4 in total for the side of the wing. Obviously on each wing they would have the same amount. And once that's all on, I can then put this cover thing on. I'll have to really research it and find out what it's called, what the purpose of it is. Maybe I should have done it before this video, but there you go, that's it on anyway. Onto the tail, and it's Humbrol 87 steel grey for the inside of the tail. So again, using the same colour as the inside of the fuselage. Now the tail comes in a couple of parts. So you have the main part, the rudder, and the top piece that spreads over the 2 pieces. So each will be getting painted in this colour. I'm just rescoring the lines on the tail fin. I think they were a bit faint, and I would have liked to see them a little bit more. So I'm just taking my scriber and I'm just rescoring the lines. And once more, just using my pencil to fill them in. This is more just so I can see them. The paint will actually cover the pencil marks up at this because of the colour of the scheme that I'm doing. So it's onto the infrastructure of the tail, and this infrastructure is quite a simple one compared to the rest of the build. It's just basically bars going vertical and horizontal. So I'm just measuring each one out. It's worth noting though that these will be going on a slight angle in contents with the shape of the tail. So just be aware of that if you're doing this. So once it's measured out, I'm just cutting it with my side cutters to the length, and always check for fit when you're doing this as well, because there's a few that I've cut too short even though I've measured them out. You know, if you haven't measured properly. Yeah, that's what will happen. So these ends will be rounded off just like on the wings, so it's just a matter of snipping off the corners, and then I'll be filing it down to round them off slightly. When you're doing this, if you find the parts are too small to hold and file down, I would suggest cutting off a piece, a bigger piece, before you get the actual shape, so you can still file it down to shape and have a little tail end or something like that, just so that you can hold on to it. So now, like every other strut, it's time to drill in the holes for the weight saving. And these ones are so small, I'm just using the drill bit only. I'm not going to be opening this up with my knife. So it's time to place the first one in, keeping it in line with the top sloping angle of the tail. Just a little bit of cement around it, then place it in. Be careful as well, because sometimes they can fall back on themselves, because it's not a very wide area to cement onto, so they may just fall back. So try and get them as upright as possible. I'm just placing the last one on now. Again, trying to keep in line with the actual angle of the tail. Next is to put the vertical struts in. I've just taped it a section down here just so that I can measure against, and I've got the right angle. Each one will be cut individually to place on it, and like I was doing with the wing and the fuselage, you have to sand down each end to about a 40-degree angle on the flat end, not the hard end, so that it will butt up against the horizontal beam that you've already put in. This is essential because it just won't look right if you just cut it straight and put it on. There'll be gaps everywhere. So it's essential that you file down to that angle so it just butts into it. So as you can see, it's a bit difficult to file them down because they are small parts. You can also try putting a cocktail stick on your sanding stick or file while you're doing this to get the proper angle like you would do on a lathe, if you feel that may be better suited to you. So I'm just completing the first side. Yeah, we'll have another vertical strip going down. Again, I'm placing a template on it just so that I know what my angles are going to be. So I've carried on with the same process, just putting the last piece in now, and this is how it's looking. So I'm quite pleased with this so far. It looks quite good. I got the joints done quite well. So you can see it just running down there. There's no gap, so yeah, that worked out all right. For the next part, running down onto the fuselage, there's a couple of ways you can deal with this. I thought about doing A-frames all the way down, but they would be absolutely minuscule, and I didn't see the point of doing this. So in the end, all I did was put one A-frame here, so that's just two pieces of the strip plastic cut down to size, filed down to the 45-degree angle, and butted against each other for the A-frame. The other parts I'm going to be putting in are just going to be straight parts, nothing major, just cut to size and placed in. So I'll just go close up there for you to see the little parts going in. So nothing special here. I'm not even drilling any weight saving holes. They're just little nubs of plastic going in. So now it's on to the actual rudder, and this is pretty much done the same way, apart from I'm putting the verticals in first because the horizontal ones don't need any special treatment to be cut down, filed down, sorry, at the ends. It's just a straight box construction. So the first vertical's in, just putting the second one in. Again, running the same angle down the rudder there. These ones do have little weight saving holes in them, so like the tail, I'm just drilling the holes slightly off camera there. So now you can see it's actually in place. Just a little bit of work to maneuver it in. which again, as I explained a little while ago there, that because there's not a massive area for these to contact with, they may move, so just be careful. The horizontal struts are done in the same way, just a lot smaller. These don't need any special treatment. They don't have to be filed onto an angle on the ends, so it's just a straight cut and placed in after I've drilled the weight 7 holes. But with the rudder though, there's more of them, so I'm just filling in the area with them. So there it is now. And for the top section, it's much the same. First of all, I'm filing down to a little sharper point, a little bit more than a 45-degree angle. That's just to place it in at the edge of the wing. And this section is for the bottom part of the top section of the tail there. The top section has to be slightly longer because that's going to be curved around the contours of the top of the tail. There is a little recess area that you can butt up against to make your line, but just cut a strip off that is going to be a lot longer than the actual rudder, line it up and cement it into position, and once it dries just take off the excess. And to close it up is just a tiny little bit at the end to close the whole thing off. I'm adding a little bit of plastic in the middle, a little strut. It's a sort of T-shaped. When I looked at the Haynes manual, there is something in. I couldn't make mind up whether I put it in because I haven't put anything in on the actual main fuselage. But I thought it needed a little bit of definition, so I just placed something in there to make it look like it has more definition. So all it's left to do now is just a little bit of touch-ups of paint once this last part goes on. So this is done. As you see, the rudder's on, the top part's on, and I've glued it all in position. Now the kit would probably want you to put these on separately, but I thought it was wise rather than doing the interstructure to just get it all fixed position. Now the next stage is actually to attach this, but I'm not going to be attaching this until near the end, just because I'll be flipping the model over to work on the underside again for the landing gear. So it's, to save it from getting damaged, I'm just going to leave it on for now. So I'll bring this video to a close, part 9. In part 10 I'll be starting on the landing gear and so forth. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel? If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified of all my future updates for this build and of course future builds. Have a look at the channel as well for my other content, particularly for this build. Hit that like button and of course leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.